We'll be starting in just a minute.
Up is the Mr. Mixed Mapping. Sir.
Hello.
How is the McStud?
I'm doing well. I cannot complain. Had a Merry Christmas and looking forward to the new year.
Ooh, look at that beautiful shirt. What are you talking about? What? Spencer, them cheeks. Look at that, sir.
How's it going?
Oh, just ducky. You?
I'm tired.
Yes, this is pretty late for you.
I'd be better if the ship behind Stud there was an NJ.
You can take that NJ and just shove it out the airlock. Okay?
So toxic. You guys hearing
Bro.
this?
No,
Where-
I don't know what you're talking about.
Anatomically speaking, where is the airlock located?
And lastly, Gauss, there he is. Just like a blank space there. And there with his beer can microphone.
Yeah.
Love it. The last time you also had like a big old cup. Is that
I
there?
did. I had a massive beer mug last time. Now I just have an old fashioned. So
Okay. Again, this was kind of Gauss's idea, so all credit to Gauss and kind of last minute to everyone. Of course, thanks for joining us, but was on everyone's list to kind of recap the year. So that's kind of what we're gonna do. And
yeah, if it goes well, all the credit goes to me. If it goes poorly, it is Triz's stream. So
hey, that is good. We have some things to go over first. But there is a kind of put together by Mr. Spencer. But again, hopefully to all you caps out there, belated whatever it is you celebrate out there. And hopefully you are all keeping safe with you and your loved ones and making sure that you're staying out of trouble. And if you haven't yet, please give your loved ones a hug. Just do it. Just do it for me. Do it for you. Do it for your family. Tell your family you love them. That you just throwing that out there. So we're gonna go around the circle here, and we'll get things started. So 2023 is done. Everything it's been quite the year. So the first question up here, I'm gonna just let everyone go at it. First McStud, Spencer, and then Gauss, and then myself at the end there. So what did we like most about 2023? Take it away, Stud.
In terms of Stowe, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah. Personal, if you want to throw that in there, so why not?
Yeah. So thinking back on the game, I think that things were pretty much kind of the same as usual as the last 2 years, really in overall development, those kinds of things. But what kind of stood out to me were the two of the event ships that we got this year. I thought were pretty good for being event ships, and for me, game wise, that was really kind of the highlight. The Hesperian and then the Temerian cruiser that we just got. Both of those were really solid ships for being free, for playing the events. And so for me, highlights, for the in-game and what we got is going to have to be those two free event ships.
Awesome. And the Spencer.
I think the big thing, obviously, is isomags, but no, the advanced consoles in general opened up a lot of interesting dynamics for like how to build ships. Made a lot of older ships that weren't necessarily that good before actually quite competitive. Like, prior to 2023, if you told me a new ship had 5 engineering consoles, I would immediately have not been a fan of that ship. But now I want a ship that has 5 engineering consoles more than I want a ship that has 5 TAC consoles. So I think that has made a lot more ships competitive. It's introduced many different ways to play the game, and I think that alone and the boost that provided to the economy and those running elite queues, that was a really good change on their part. And yeah, the event ships this year have been better than many of the prior years. The Compiler, really good ship actually. The Hesperian, that had some meta impacting gear on it, and the Temerian is also, a solid ship. So yeah, lots of good new toys this year.
Ross?
I have to agree about the ISO mags. All jokes aside, you got just a ton of ships that would have been written off as useless that now are pretty good, and I think that's amazing. And I was gone. I didn't come back until pretty late in the year, so I missed out on a lot of that. I missed out on the compiler. It looks like a cool ship, so hopefully I'll be able to get my hands on it at some point. I thought the Temerian, like Stud Muffin said, pretty good ship. I think a lot of people I saw personally comments of people kind of writing it off, saying, "Well, I'm just going to put it in dry dock, or I didn't bother because it's not like super amazing at any one thing." But I thought overall it was pretty good for an event ship. So I thought that was pretty nice. And yeah, I mean, those are all pretty good things. I really like the flashback bundle. Just the nostalgia hit for me. I like that we got the tier 6 version of those ships. So that was another nice thing.
Yeah, no, I have to agree also with the event ships. They were all great. I'm actually still flying the Temerian, and not even T6X or 2. It's still doing very well. Um, I mean, for me, I think Fujiwara Effect is probably one of my favorite episodes so far when it had come out, and I didn't mind actually just running that over and over again. And if I'm not mistaken, we got the Voth exosuit this year. Is that not? Did that not come out this year?
I think it was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that I think I know it's not like meta break or anything, but just the fact that it came out and we have something like that, hopefully that kind of leads to more trinkets like that we can have maybe a little was it the next generation Doom buggy that they used there in um that one movie. Oh God, drawing
The
a
last
blank.
one, Nemesis.
The Nemesis, or it was the
Yeah.
one that the
It's when they found B4 on the planet.
yeah, yeah. That was I love that. Something hopefully they kind of continue that into, giving us more rewards like that. It was quite unique. Um Ships wise, I think one of my I'll probably say this again later, but the Connie 3, the World Razor, again, the event ships, all those coming out this year, along with the ships from Prodigy, from the Strange New Worlds. Like all the Trek is being represented currently in Stowe. I think that was really, really cool. But going back to what Stud said earlier, it's kind of the same old, same old. There's no, the flow of sort of the episodes and ships release and all that stuff. I'm not trying to say that I was expecting anything different, but of course, we're going to get into that more later when we talk about the other things. But a lot of the things that I was kind of waiting for, it didn't happen with like more episodes or whatever, which I knew wasn't going to happen, but still, you know, um, the other things I just put here, the crossovers that we got from IDW, Resurgence, Infinite, all again, even being represented the current games in Stowe, I thought that was really cool. So it felt like almost the same as last year with a little bit more ships nostalgia, because of course this year we got also Beverly Crusher here, which was one of
And her
my
candle.
and I mean there's the again unique rewards, right? Like sure, it's not even it's a thing that I just use on my alt, but it's something, it's very TNG heavy. I mean, just the last ship, right? The Temerian TNG. So I hope that just moves forward. So for me, that's kind of what I loved most in terms of Stowe, and Caps, feel free in the chat to also let us know what your favorite was. But
I've seen the Maelstrom pop up. A lot of people were happy about that.
mhm.
That it was nice to finally have a torpedo that really felt good to just use on its own on like an energy weapon build. That like actually felt impactful.
Oh yeah, that thing is great. I love the sound of it, the look of it, the effects on it. It's great. Even when it got like nerfed and everything, I know it kind of put a sour taste in everyone's mouth, but it was still doing okay, and I'm not sure that you let me know, Spencer, if the Maelstrom torpedo is back to where it was before, but I still found it was worth using even when it was nerfed, adjusted, or whatever. Um, And then we also got another torpedo like that. Was it the Colgate one? I,
Yeah,
I would
trifluoride.
say Colgate. Every time I read that the trifluoride, it's kind
Oh, because the fluoride.
of yeah.
That's yeah.
I don't I don't know why, but I saw Waldo there saying the board port, finally getting the board port. I think that was great. And the deflector of the inquiry being changed.
Oh
I
yeah.
think that was that just that bundle alone. I didn't put that here, but yeah, no, that's right. That
And
bundle is great.
really, I guess that too, the legendary Avenger. I know we've all given it praise, but that is effectively a copy of the promotional inquiry that you can get on account wide unlock. Like that is legitimately one of the top energy weapon platforms in the game. Like I would say it's easily in top 5, and you can get it through a bundle in the C store with another good ship and a T6 coupon. That was definitely one of the better things from the year.
Oh yeah, the board port finally. Again, I said it before and I'll say it again. I wish they would have released that in the year of Klingon. I think it just would have made a lot more sense. It being the flagship of the KDF, but it is what it is. I don't know if they kind of made that happen. They planned it in that way because it just feels like two different things that they're bundling together. The inquiry from Picard, and then Morrissey. Feel like there's no connection. Completely two different. Other than the battle cruisers. Okay, fine, good one there. But I thought the Bort was always kind of a dreadnought. But
Well, at least they gave the KDF some love there.
Yes.
yes, no, 100%.
Now
That's
the
true. They could have
Gemini
just
did it.
done another Fed only bundle with just the one ship because they got plenty of those.
Yeah. The Jamadar are
No.
the ones that need the attention now.
I'd say the Romulans too, though.
Yeah.
Like they need some love there. But yeah,
I mean,
the Gem.
The Romulans at least got a legendary Valdor earlier this year. The Jemadars, the only legendary ship they have is the bug ship, and that's from a year and a half ago, or is it longer?
Yeah, geez, it's been a while since.
At least that was a good one, though. I mean,
Yeah.
Maybe they can't all just release everything in 1 year, which I don't know. The pacing of the ships, I mean, maybe Spencer, you can speak to this. It felt like it was a lot more, but then when I did my recap list on my own, it wasn't a lot, but it felt like a lot, especially in the later part of the year.
I think it's because that was basically all there was, is what it felt like to most of us. So that's new ships always get the most attention, and with how content light the rest of the year felt,
Mhm.
they were just they had a lot more presence.
I mean, the Borg stuff in this new drop that we got here for content. I did enjoy it. I like how, and I wish they kind of expanded on it too in a TFO, like the one in the episode there, the where you're fighting the Borg cube. You had to target its like nodes, like shield nodes or whatever, and then after that, like I wish they would have done a TFO like that. And I've always been saying this, and I'll keep saying it. I wish they would have a TFO with a huge Borg cube, where it's just heading towards Earth, and it's to slow it down, stop that phase, Spencer. I can see that. That's it. I can see that. I know what you're saying, but hopefully that is something that we can get. But it all was just in that episode. The new Borg are there in the new episode in Guillotine and in Resistance of Starbase. That's it. They didn't adapt that to the the current Borg TFOs or anything like that. I would like to see more of that. Any of the ground ones. We don't have another ground mission with the new Borg, right? It's the same old Borg that we have.
That brings up another good thing from this year, Guillotine, especially Guillotine Elite. Like that
That's
is
good.
actually a fun queue to do. Like many of the queues that they've released in the past few years, I haven't been the biggest fan of. It doesn't help that most of them have been just normal difficulty only. But Guillotine Elite, actually having an elite version and having a really hard to fight Borg cube at the end, that's a fun TFO. Two, yeah.
Two TAC cubes. Yeah. But yeah, again, even with the whole crossovers, right? Including the assimilator there. I feel like the assimilator is a mixed bag for me. it is good. Again, the fact that it's in game from those who enjoyed Star Trek Armada, right? But
Yeah,
I'll speak to
Armada.
the negative portion of that in this next one. So that was our kind of, what we liked most. A little bit off there. Is there anything else that you guys wanted to add to that one?
I did have one. I don't know if it was actually added this year. I didn't check, but I did notice that there is a ground patrol, the one where you kill, Janeway. Was that added this year? I'm not sure, but
I think it was.
either way, for a long time I've been complaining that there were no ground patrols. So I was happy to see that was added.
The space one is nice too, but I'm not as big of a fan of it because it's randomized enemies. If I'm going in and testing something, I want a consistent environment. It's not that. Last year. Apparently that was last year. I don't even remember.
Yeah, no, I think that covers it for me.
Yeah. Now we flip the script. So what did we like the least? So take that away, Stud.
Yeah, so I think the biggest letdown for me was that there was no fall event ship. Excuse me, and that's kind of a weird one. But the last 3 or 4 years, they've never given it a name. So just kind of made that up because that's when it normally drops. And it would be, it would be similar to an event where
Gagarin, right?
Right, the Mir Gagarin, the Somerville, the Alachi ship. There was quite a few really good ships that we got from that for the past 3 or 4 years, and this year they just skipped it. They didn't say anything about it. It just didn't happen at all. I've heard rumors that there was a particular ship that it was supposed to be. The assimilator. I can't confirm that, but I've heard rumors of that. So I think that's the biggest letdown for me. I spent a lot of money on the game, through COVID because we all felt like, that it was okay since we were staying home and, money was being handed out and things like that. But generally, I play most games as free as possible as I can. So, getting the free ships and stuff, that's a big deal. And I really enjoy, working towards getting those and collecting those things because they're hard to get after the fact, right? Unless you want to spend tons of money. So I think for me, that was the biggest disappointment was that was completely skipped over. The other thing that jumps out to me is that I do not like the way the assimilator looks, and I do not like that they went and changed it through the whole game. I'm fine with it being in, the new episodes that they release, that, that's all fine. But for me, when I think of Star Trek, I'm thinking of the shows, the movies, things like that. And I've never seen that ship before in my life. It looks like a PlayStation 2 or 3 or whatever it is. And I'm just not a big fan. It's fine, to add that kind of stuff in. And I'm not saying they shouldn't. I just don't like that it actively went and replaced basically all, the cubes in the game. For the most part. So for me, that was kind of a bummer because it breaks my immersion.
Yeah, I don't mean to cut in, but I agree. Like I did an ISA, an ISE, and I was like, oh wait, what's going on here? Like it's like this doesn't feel right. This doesn't seem.
It's just a weird looking ship to me that has Borg skin on it, and so I'm just not a big fan. I don't have anything against it per se, but it just doesn't say Star Trek Borg to me.
Yeah.
It doesn't have that iconic shape,
right,
like a
right,
cube
exactly.
Or yeah.
That doesn't look as scary as, the cube that you're going up to face.
Well, I think it was exotic from one chat's nights. It looked like a transformer foot. Like I can't unsee it. It's like a transformer hoof, but anyways. Anything else, Stud?
No, I think those are the two main things that jump out to me. I mean, I have other complaints, but they're kind of similar, server performance and, different things like that. But I mean, that's just kind of the way it is. So I've kind of learned to live with that. But I think those two things are really the main notable things that I didn't like, this year.
Mr. Eastkinsor.
To chip onto the assimilators, one of my big issues throughout the entire year has just been the continued degradation of like the quality control of things, like things being released in a broken state, things like that. That's never been good in this game, but it feels like it's been getting worse as time goes on. And with the assimilators, I wasn't a fan of the visuals of them and them introducing them into all the Borg TFOs. But in the process of doing that, they didn't go in and like polish up the maps to make them look right with the change in the hitboxes. They didn't move them down at all. You go into Kira Space, for example, and there's just this giant gap between where the bottom of the assimilator is and the top of that green line that it was healing the cube that had been there before. It's just really immersion breaking because they put them in there very abruptly and they didn't bother to take the time to go in and polish it up to make it actually look good. And in the process, they also messed with infected. And I know that's a minor issue. That's, the DPS community is not what Cryptic cares about. But they broke quite a few things on that map, and here we are, still, 3-4 months later, and it's still broken. So just the continued degradation of things that they release, the bugs that are persistent are continuing to pop back up. I mean, you guys have seen the people flying around in, sector space. You guys have experienced that yourselves. That's been one of the worst things for me in 2023. And like Stu was saying, the assimilator, that with how bad the accessories on that are, I have to imagine that was probably meant to be the original event ship for fall. And I haven't gotten the video done yet because it's real life and all that. But in the review, I had transferred the ship over to Tribble, and it had a different set of stats on it, most notably a single spec seat. You know what ships that they've released in the past couple of years have a single spec seat? The fall event ships. The only event ships that they've done in the past couple of years with the single spec. All of the anniversary, winter, summer, those have been dual spec.
I think the Eisenberg was the first one that had 2, and then it sounds like they were all after that except for the fall ones.
Yeah. Just quality issues, them not understanding how the game is played is always an issue, and we've seen that with the Maelstrom, the nerfs that received, because they don't know, what our builds look like. They don't know how to test at that level of gameplay. The same is true for the Tholian nucleating warp core. I don't know if they've even fixed that. Their communication has also not been great. They tell us to go post these things on the forums. Game Freaks did extensive multi-page long write-ups on these things, did hours of testing. I think he's done more testing on some of these things than they spent, time developing it. And those posts just get ignored.
Testing, right?
Yeah, they say they did. The other thing that I disliked this year was the Prodigy, a kid show, the ship from that being put into a lockbox. That was the other thing this year that I just really, it didn't feel right. I don't know how you guys felt on that
one. Thanks to Mikey, aka Damontar, for gifting that to us. It's great to have. I don't feel it, because it is a hero ship of a Star Trek show. I'd have to agree. It shouldn't have been. I thought that was one of the reasons why it was being held back, because it was from a kid's show, being put in because of these whatever red flags or whatever. But I feel that it should have just been a C-store ship, maybe even just an event ship. Holy, why not? But yeah, that ship didn't even feel. It obviously performs well. It can perform well. You make any ship perform well for monkey's sake. But I think that the Prodigy ship should have been more or less an event, or again, just flat out sea storm.
I mean, I think it's distasteful, like you said. Obviously, I'm a little biased. Everyone knows how I feel about gambling. But I think that, if you're a kid, right, who likes Prodigy and you're playing this game somehow, you're going to be exposed to a bunch of gambling anyway, even if it wasn't that ship. So I'm not really sure that it's distasteful, but I don't know that it's extra harmful, because if you're somehow a kid playing this game, you're going to be bombarded by advertisements for gambling anyway. So I don't know that it really adds to the harm done to the kids, but it is just sort of really poor taste and, seems out of touch. But that's their business model, so they're going to do what they're going to do.
Yeah. Sad. Anything else to add there, Spence?
Nah, I think the continued degradation of QA is the big one, really. Like that's just had a lot of impact on a lot of things.
Mr. Gauss, sir, take it away.
Well, before I say something, I'll just piggyback on one more thing Spencer said. He said, they don't really care about DPS chasers, but we don't have the numbers, but it feels like they ought to, because DPS chasing is one of those things that strongly motivates people to buy more ships. So it seems to me like they should be interested in it, even if it's not a huge number of players. Those people are probably buying a lot of ships. So I don't know, but no one's mentioned it yet, but I guess I would say the whole thing with Deca and the Embracer. We still don't know whether that's going to be a net positive or negative or what, but it feels like it's probably going to be a net negative. On the website, they do say, they specialize in spaghetti code, so maybe they will end up doing a better job. It's possible. I'm not trying to be pessimistic. Maybe it will actually be better, but it does feel like it's winding down to a new steady state. Like we've had all these years, for years now, we've had an expectation of, I just did a video recently, like reasons to play next year, reasons not to play. And I based that on what we've had before, but we honestly don't know. We've had a pretty consistent, even you, Triz, earlier said, well, I shouldn't have been surprised. It's what we expected. We kind of know what to expect now, how much content we're going to get, what ships we're going to get, events and all that. And it's all up in the air now. So I think that's the uncertainty around it. It has its own negativity, because then it might cause people to quit. It might cause people to stop spending. So I think it did harm the game, even if it does ultimately end up being neutral or positive. So I think that's, and I wasn't around for most of the year, so I can't comment on stuff that happened before I came back. But I think that's the big one. I mean, a lot of the complaints are things that are evergreen that would have applied last year. So I don't really have anything more to add for this year.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I mean, for me, I will just go back to the simulator. I'm glad it's in game, but I'm not happy that it's like replaced every cube that is in the queues. And yeah, that's very immersion breaking for me personally. That ship itself is just not a good looking ship. You kind of you see them in a group, a cube and the assimilators with the spheres and the probes. It doesn't fit. It just does
I
not
wonder if it was on purpose.
purpose, like just
Replacing
to,
all, yeah. If
I
they
mean,
meant
yeah,
to replace
they
all of
did
the
because they
pre-existing
wanted to
ones.
say was because they wanted to make the Borg cubes more of a threat as opposed to the assimilators. They wanted to make sure that when a Borg cube did show up, then we would, oh, it's a Borg cube, right? Not like they're just willy nilly, like it was before. I just wish they didn't replace all of them.
Yeah.
I can actually, I can appreciate that logic, though. I mean, I can't say I disagree with it, because people have been laughing for years
Yes.
that the Borg cubes are a joke in the game, whereas they're super badass on the screen. So I can't I can't be mad at the idea of when a Borg cube shows up, it's a you're scared, not scared, but it's like a real threat. Whereas before it was a joke. I just don't know that replacing them with these assimilators was the way to do it.
Yeah.
Replace them
No,
with spheres, then
yeah. Or I would say just not so much. It just they're like there, when I remember one of the first goals I had when I played Star Trek Online was to be able to solo a cube, because to me as a new player then, man, that thing was scary. I was going to elites with my fleet mates, and they're like, okay, Triz, when we go to the cube, you have to come help us because it has a lot of HP, blah blah blah. And of course, Star Trek, the big baddie is the Borg cube, and doesn't matter when the cube does show up, we still melt it like it's nothing. But still, I want the Borg cube. So for me, the simulator was not the best addition that way. Still appreciated, but not that way. Gauss touched on it. Yeah, the whole thing with what's happening with Stowe changing hands and the uncertainty of all the devs leaving, the layoffs that what would happen in the last two months. And and I said it before when we talked about this a month ago. I feel for the devs. You don't ever want to be out of a job, right? Supporting your family, especially if that's your bread and butter. But them leaving, to me, kind of just left me in a state of, oh crap, this is the only game in the MMO that I play, right? And everyone knows that for the most part. I don't want this game to end. But when we did talk last time, you guys kind of convinced me that going to Deca is a good thing. So, but it's a wait and see, right? Again, what Gauss said, it's a wait and see to what happens. It's that uncertainty that I don't like feeling right now. It's in the back of my mind, but it's it's never a positive feeling when you know something that you really love and are passionate about is kind of teeter tottering, right? Again, it's a wait and see with the whole Deca thing. It's kind of did sound like it was a more positive note, and I hope it does go that way. But everything you guys said about negatively, yeah, it's just it's
Can I add? Can I add
yeah,
something?
sure, of course.
So, because I kind of left off of going through the agenda that we had here, I kind of left off anything about Deca and the whole situation, mainly because it was what's our favorite, what's our least favorite,
Mhm.
what are we looking forward to, what are we not looking forward to, and I think when it comes to that subject, the bottom line is that we just don't know if it's
Yeah.
going to be good or bad. I think the positiveness is that I believe that it means the game's going to be around, right, for
Yeah.
quite a bit longer. And I think that we could say that with certainty, and that's a positive thing. But how the direction they take it, and if it gets better, if it gets worse, I just don't know, because I spent a lot of time watching some reviews on games that Deca handles, and it was a lot of similar kind of stuff that we would hear about Cryptic, in terms of the monetization, server performance, those kinds of things. And so, I mean, just purely based on that, it seems like it's probably going to be pretty similar, at least in terms of those two, items. I don't know how they can make the monetization worse. I don't know if I should even say that out loud. Maybe there's a way. I don't know. And the servers are the way that they are, and it seems like that's kind of similar. I don't know if they're going to change servers or why they would do that. They probably rent space at Deca anyways and don't have their own farms. That's probably a pretty standard practice in the industry, I'm guessing. But again, it's just one of those kind of weird things, because as we were you're bringing it up, and I'm looking through, kind of my list, and I was thinking about that when I was, kind of writing down my thoughts for the podcast, is that we just don't know, if it's going to end up being a good thing or a bad thing. I think the only thing we can say with certainty is, the next year to 3 years at least, the game's going to be around. In what state, it's kind of hard to say.
Yeah, I agree completely, and I think that I think that just the uncertainty is its own form of negative impact.
Yeah.
But I think that like one of the things I was thinking about, because I've been thinking like what could change, right? Because you're right, they kind of already operate like a Deca game, so there's probably not going to be a lot of changes. But new ships are a lot of work to, you need people to do that. You need people to make new ships, and for ships that they're going to sell, it's probably still worth it to do it. But like, what if, for example, they stop making new event ships, but they still run the events, but instead of getting a new ship for the winter event, you get a tier 6 coupon, or you get a choice box with all the old event ships in it or something. Like, I could see those kinds of corners being cut, and I think like that seems like the most likely kind of thing, if we're getting a downgrade, where they're not going to put the extra work in for things they can't directly monetize. But again, we don't know, right? I mean, but as far as like complaints about the game, I don't really, I don't really have, because I've only been back for a little while, so same old, honestly.
Well, yeah. Well, and speaking of that, like the whole devs leaving thing, that to me, I didn't like that. Right, I don't like that. Right. Again, we've had these names that are, um, again, some of the ones that left. If I think you guys mentioned it already before, they weren't really actively on Stowe-ish, or not
Correct.
really 100% on. But again, the main names, right? Jesse, even Jonathan now, which I thought was a breath of fresh air coming into Stowe this year, was Jonathan. And it's funny how you guys said, they don't cater to DPSers, but again, Gauss, you addressed it, but they kind of do. The traits that they release, the consoles, it all always leads towards almost always DPS, right? And of course, for them to continue that, they need the people who know Stowe. But if they're going to be leaving, and they've seen the writing on the wall, and that's why they're kind of throwing that out there on their, what's that called, the LinkedIn page, right? That, hey, open for work, or whatever. That will affect a lot of things. Now, we know that they always have content ready a year ahead, or 6 months to a year ahead, from, if I remember correctly, that Rivera said on news streams years ago,
Content
saying that
plans.
content plans, right? They're like ahead of that. So when this all happened, what does that mean now, right? I wonder where they are, how far they got to planning to next year's stuff. Again, it's a wait and see, but with all the people kind of going, oh, open for work, or whatever, that's negative to me, and I want to have people working on Stowe, and I think DECA kind of made that, and they want to have people who love Star Trek. I want people working on Stowe that love Star Trek as well. But how's that going to be?
Yeah, it is reassuring that in that job posting for the community manager, they want someone who either has knowledge of Star Trek or is
Mhm.
willing to get knowledge of Star Trek. Like, it's not just a warm body. Like, they're
Mhm.
they want the person to actually be competent.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I think for me, for the dev layoffs, I mean, on a personal level, that sucks, right? But
Yeah.
I mean, in terms of the game and the business, it's the same thing as the whole DECA move. I don't know. Maybe it'll end up being a good thing. Maybe it won't be. We just don't know, because we don't know who's replacing them and what their capabilities are going to be and what they're going to bring to the table, along with whatever the plans are of, the direction that DECA takes Cryptic.
Yeah, I think it'll be a bit into 2024 before we would see any like immediate or any impact from all this, because they've already been working on the anniversary event. By now, that's probably mostly completed, and they're probably going to spend most of January just getting things polished up. But the question is then, what's the content like as we approach the season in April and May, or the summer event? That's where we're going to start to see if there is an impact.
Oh yeah, it takes time to hire people. They have stuff in the pipeline. I mean, it could be 6 months before we see any kind of real change. I mean,
that kind of does segue to that next line there, like the thoughts on the game direction. I mean, so what do we got coming up next year in Stowe, in Star Trek? So obviously we have Discovery, right? Season 5, and we know it takes what, 6 months for things to come in game. So from shows, but I say that because of course what happens in real Trek is now really trickling down to Stowe. So what could we look forward to? More Discovery content, whether it be ships, outfits, or whatever, voice actors. Hopefully we still have that. Even the other current Trek stuff, so Lower Decks, Strange New Worlds, Prodigy, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, Michelle Yeoh's movie's gonna start filming, or had started filming already.
Next month,
Which is it next month? So that's, again, right. It's all good stuff. And
I mean, she's practically the best thing in Discovery, in my opinion. So,
oh yeah,
I definitely would look forward to watching that, because by the end, my patience was getting thin with Discovery, but I still really loved all her stuff. So,
oh, she was. I really wish they didn't kill off Primary Georgiou. I didn't really like Mirror much. To me, Michelle seemed too good, to be it works because she's such a good actress, but
I
that
thought it was a good
interrogation scene where they're in the future and the Starfleet guy is like interrogating her.
Yeah.
That was all awesome, you know.
That was
Yeah.
no, it was good.
Yeah.
I agree.
It was a good, deep, complicated character. I really liked the mirror one as well.
And she probably had a lot of fun doing that. So again, direction wise for Stowe, anything that we aren't going to be seeing, it's going to trickle in. And from what Stud said, it feels like it's still kicking the can down the road for Stowe, like 3 to 5 years down the road, right? Because there's still more content, and within the shows that or episodes we've gotten up to this point, there's always those other plot points or threads that Stowe can still pick from, right? Because because right now we're in still the Terran Borg or whatever, which I'm not really upset about. I love the Terrans, I love the Borg, so having to still kind of mess with them is great. So what I believe is this the wrap up, the anniversary event going to be the wrap up of this arc or still continue? I can't remember.
I think they said it's going to be running up through the anniversary event in 25. So
Okay, so
there's
it's
still
1 more year.
Still a year of this arc.
And then of course you think of direction of the game. Well, what of course is driving the game? Well, ships, right? I think of ships coming to Stowe. I really can't think of any ships that I'm looking forward to. I mean, I know there's the Intrepid or the Duderstadt class from Bill Krause. I know there's some lower deck ships still need to come in there. Strange New Worlds. I can't remember. I'm not sure if they're gonna.
There was that round, like it almost reminded me. It was more powerful than the Enterprise. It reminded me almost like of an Expanse ship. It was round. I can't remember what it was called.
I remember what you're talking about.
Yeah, but that was kind of cool. I'd like to see something like this. Is really different, I can't remember what it was called.
From which show?
From Strange New Worlds.
The Shepherd.
I'm trying to remember what happened in the show. I just remember that ship attacking them, and they're like, "We can't. We're outmatched."
There's another ship from Strange New Worlds that could be interesting. That big Gorn dreadnought.
Yes.
Imagine if we got some more plasma buffs.
Plasma. But yeah, the Shepherd ship, like that. If that's the one, that was from the first season. I mean, there's still some ships there. I think Trek Yards covered a kind of almost like a crossfield refit. There's that one nacelle ship still.
It's not the Orion one, is it? No, the Orion didn't attack the Enterprise. This is a different ship.
Yeah. But Prodigy, I'm not sure. I don't watch that show, so I'm not sure if there's any ships there that they can still pull over, because we obviously got the Protostar and the Dauntless. Any other ships that I've seen there was just like the normal cannon ships.
No, there's that like Voyager that was Sovereign, like it had some Sovereign design inspiration. The Voyager
That's
A
coming
or whatever.
in next season. Yeah.
Oh, next season.
That's next season from the trailer. Which again is great. Obviously, that's a ship. We're gonna have to see how they do that, and of course, all of the other positive things, for Stowe was a bunch of the ships still being canonized. And speaking of Voyager, well, the Pathfinder is Voyager B, right? So, again, ships make Stowe go, and I'm not sure if I'm really looking to any other ships, to be honest. And I wouldn't want to see any more rehashes of the, the same old.
One more Miranda. You all right?
Oh God.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
I know like 2 people watched it, but I did this video for Halloween where the gimmick was that I had a magic Halloween bucket, and I pulled out like all the papers inside had was the plans for Stowe for next year, and one of them was another Miranda, and then and one of them was being able to apply another Tier 6X upgrade.
Oh God.
Which at the time I didn't realize they had already done it, so it ended up being pretty.
Right. Well, I think I kind of went.
I don't know what the thing is with the Mirandas. There's so many freaking Mirandas,
and 2 more skins in just the past 2 months, right? There was the Resurgence one, and then the Infinite.
Yeah, it's if you love the Miranda, boy, you're in
Yeah.
luck because
You're in
Yeah.
the right place.
You hit that random button. I've seen people come up with some funky looking designs.
I saw someone make
of
one
the
that looked
Miranda.
like a California.
Oh, that's been around for a while. The one with the Miranda on skis is what I call it. But I kind of went out of order there, so my apologies. But I went on the thoughts of the game direction, so we'll start with Stud there. How about you? Where do you think?
Yeah, I feel like I already kind of covered it. I mean, game direction. I mean, what I wrote down is that uncertain. Deca has a similar, kind of reputation as cryptic monetization servers. We got to wait and see. I mean, that's my thoughts. I mean, the next thing is what do we want to see happen in 2024? And I got more listed there. But in terms of what I think the direction is, I mean, the answer is I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna. What the model's going to be and what they're going to do. There's plenty of content out there to do whatever they want with. If I was Deca, I'd be looking at what's the most popular current content that's drawing people in. I mean, I'm sure you guys get the ads for Fleet Commander.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks badass. I mean, it's not what the game's like, but
No.
you know what I'm saying?
No,
But
exactly.
so I mean, there's plenty of of stuff out there they can get and make like that, and they could actually deliver something that's closer to what those ads look like in Stowe. So there's a lot of opportunity there. But the bottom line is that we just don't have any idea at the moment.
Yeah. Spence?
Following up on the Miranda commentary, RoboTrick in my chat said that we don't have the Wrath of Khan Miranda apparently yet. So maybe we'll.
wait, really?
Apparently,
I thought that was I thought that was
Seriously?
the Fleet version. I thought the Fleet version was the Wrath of Khan one. I might be wrong.
well, if it's not, then
How
maybe
could that, how
We
could
got
that
got another
how
one
could
coming.
that possibly be?
I don't know. It could also be maybe the Miranda will be the first ship that has 2 legendary versions.
Well, I bet all the parts
Oh,
are there.
God.
You just have
That's
to
believable.
kit bash it into
Yeah.
existence.
I don't think I can buy another legendary brand.
Yeah, I don't have the first one yet because they won't put it on a good sale. For the game direction, I like what they've done with the anniversary bundles, and I like that they've continued with that trend. I hope they do next year as well. I like that there was at least some thought put into elite content, elite level queues, TFOs with the advanced component farming. I like what they did there with that for the economy, and I hope that they expand on it. Like there's a lot of potential for those advanced consoles, lots of ways they could expand it. And I hope with them doing the continued focus on bringing some more elite content into the game, that they recognize, with the direction the game has been going with all the power creep they've given us, that they maybe give us some content that we can actually use all that stuff into its fullest capability, because current elite is a joke.
Not just the ISC.
I mean, most elite queues right now are they're not really that difficult with what builds currently look like at a high end level. Yeah, I think most of the game direction thoughts have already pretty much been covered. So, Gauss, on you.
Well, not to sound pedantic, but Triz earlier said something about ships, like that's where a lot of the content is, where a lot of the excitement is. But I don't actually think that's true. It's not the ships people want, because I think a lot of people, especially us, people who play a lot, who have a lot of ships, we want new ships, but we don't really want the ships. We want the consoles, we want the traits, we want the special weapons. And one of the things I was thinking about with Spencer's channel the other day is that he keeps going back to the Dale Kina. So many videos in the Dale Kina. Like, if a new ship came out, that he wanted, he would get it. But then, probably in a couple of weeks, he'd be back in the Dale Kina. And I think that's sort of true for most of us, right? Like, a new ship comes out, you get it, you play around with it for a while, and maybe the thing that got you to buy it was actually the trait or the console or the hangar pets or something like that. And you don't really stick with it because you only fly one ship at a time, but you can have 7 starship traits. You can have, 13, 14 consoles. So That's the thing that really drives the sales more than the actual ships. But even a ship only has one or two things you can cannibalize off of it. What I would like to see is more stuff like isomags, where that one thing suddenly made like 20 ships more relevant. So it's like one change that it's almost like getting several dozen new ships in a way. And I think I would rather they focus less on new ships and focus more on new ways to uh, build the ships we already have. I think that would be if I had to like if a wish list, right? Like anything you want. Um, what do I think will actually happen? Again, like McStu's been saying the whole time, we just don't know. Speculating is almost kind of pointless, right? We don't want to say anything that might not be true. Um, I think that there's a possibility that missions, patrols, TFOs could be cut back. Anything that requires environmental artists or anything like that. Event ships, like I was saying earlier, could be converted into choice tokens or something for stuff that already exists. I think there is a danger of that. I don't know if it'll be true or not. There may even be more events, right? Like, I think the worst state that Stowe will ever be in is already behind us. Because I remember the days before Endeavors, before all the events, before event campaigns. We didn't get a lot of content then either, and there was just nothing. The game felt more dead then than it ever has, and I don't see that slowing down. Like the stuff may become more shallow and we may get less new stuff. Again, speculation, but I think there will always be events, and I think they're going to try and keep us engaged. And that was not true in the past. So I do think the worst days of the game are actually behind us. So I think that it's pretty smooth sailing from here on out. We just don't know what the waters are going to look like.
Yeah, and let me just reemphasize, because you saying engaged is, I think that's huge, and I really think that hits the nail on the head of what's been lacking, in my opinion, for years and years and years, is that a real focus on engaging the community in general to come and play, short of sales and things like that. And there's just so much more that can be done in terms of community engagement and really drawing more people in at a time to play the game.
I mean, shoot, we forgot to mention if they did that this year, right? That the whole community event that just happened, but they involved most of the content creators that were giving out stuff. The fleet week,
right? Yeah,
that was.
And that was really kind of a byproduct of just something that Kale and Thomas wanted to just do themselves, with or without us. But it ended up working out well. And if we had engagement like that from the community management team on a regular basis, even really small events, have their own Discord server, I think that would be huge. I mean, it'd make a real big difference for people, because there's a lot of people that play the game by themselves and probably wouldn't mind playing with other people, or but the demographic of people that play, Discord may be foreign to them. I'd never used Discord before I started playing STO, and found Twitch. Never heard of Twitch before. I think it was the fleet I was in. They were doing a stream on it, and that's how I found it, and was able to start finding people to play with and have fun and stuff like that. But if there was a direct outreach from the community managers and that team, to stir up more of that, I think there would be a lot more engagement. It'd be better for the game overall, and probably be better profit wise as well.
Right. And Gauss, did you have anything else to add to that one?
The only thing I would add is that I've been looking at the comments or the chat, and apparently I've irritated a lot of people by suggesting that the Foundry was not. So yes, I will admit the Foundry was great, and I was super sad when it went away. And it's true that we did used to have the Foundry, but I mean in terms of the official stuff being added to the game.
I think before we go to 2024, 2023 favorite ship, stud go.
Just a car. Love the way it looks. It's an awesome tank right out of the box with the trait and the console. Really need to put together a video on that. It's been on the list. But I really like the way that they designed it. Looks great. Tank's great. Flies great. It's my favorite ship for this year.
Pence.
I want to say the World Razor because it's such a good platform, but I think the answer for me has to be the Gorn Hunter because it has managed to take a damage type that was not very well received in prior years and managed to make it not only competitive, but actually the top option in elite content. So that has to be my favorite ship this year.
When's the last time you flew it?
If you get the trait.
When I got the trait. Okay. For actually flying, it's the World Razor. The Gorn Hunter makes you want to vomit flying it because it spins back and forth.
You need one elite Argala to get the trait.
That's it.
Exactly.
Gauss?
Justicar for me too. Also the Justicar. So I was really surprised to hear Stu say that because that's mine also. When I first started playing the game, the tier 5 version of that was the one that I picked. And back then that was the ship I flew for like a year. So having the tier 6 version, and it's also a good ship, right? Like it's not like the best, but it's a pretty good ship. So yeah, for me also the Justicar in terms of being a favorite.
Yeah, hands down the World Razor. That thing can emulate what we saw on the last season of Picard. The way it moves, just the looks of it, just both. And I'm still amazed that we got that off of a painting. For us to get a ship off of a painting that we saw for what, all of 5 seconds, maybe at most.
They've
and
always...
then it's one.
When are we going to get a Gillette crossover where we can get an actual razor, a World Razor, you know?
But they've always been good at that, like taking a ship that was on screen for like even half a second. Like you have to go and count the amount of frames that it was there, and they've been able to convert those over to
they got to de-blur the pixels, you know?
Yeah.
up the quality. But yeah, no, the World Razor definitely is the ship that stood out for me, and everyone can have access to that starting next year, I think. So for your event campaign, so 100%, yeah, the World Razor. So
I have a follow-up question specifically for Triz. This is from Nick. He wants to know, completely random, but
moving on. No,
if you could live in a ship, what ship would it be? From any year.
In
Galaxy.
Galaxy.
Yeah, that's an easy one. It'd be the D all day long.
Sorry.
Triz likes the D.
I didn't touch it. I didn't say that. It wasn't me. Just saying, you can clip it, but it wasn't me.
Everybody loves the D.
You all know that the Enterprise.
Interpret that how you want.
Yeah, I'm trying not to bring attention to it, but McStu just repeated it again. We have people that can have clip through like crazy. But yeah, no, that definitely was the hands down ship for me. So, all right, moving on to 2024. So the question that Spence had here: what do we want to see in 2024? I have a couple things here, but Stud, take it away.
So first and foremost, what I'd like to see is a clear path forward. So we can get rid of the speculation and concern and those kinds of things. So I'd like to see Cryptic/Deca put out a roadmap for the year, just what's upcoming, even if it's just all the stuff we expect, just kind of lay it out and give us a little bit of teasers, make a little graphic. It would be pretty easy and straightforward. I know people were really asking for that a month or so back when all of the stuff was hitting the fan, and Ambassador Kale and I can't remember the other guy's name. They came on and they were going to do that, and it was really amateur hour like there. And I know there's a lot of stuff going on in the background, and in those kinds of things with everything that was going on, but it wasn't very satisfactory. What they had put out. There were some asks on Twitter and stuff for a roadmap and some of those kinds of things, and so I'm assuming they did their best. And again, with everything that was happening, it just wasn't really good. So what I would like to see is, sometime in the first quarter is an email that goes out to everybody with, hey, here's what we've got planned for the next 6 months, the next 2 quarters, 3 quarters, whatever it may be, and just give everybody some reassurance and some, just let us know what's going on. Even if it's just going to be the same stuff that, we got from last year, which is kind of what, we were getting anyways, but, a roadmap is what I'd like to see. I have some other things on the wish list, monetization. At a minimum, I'd like to see it just be more transparent. I don't think it's going to, change in any way. Loot boxes are how, they make money and, ships and all of that. And I've accepted that, and that's the way it is. It's fine. I would like to see some transparency to it. Give us the drop rates, things like that. Even if it's terrible, I just want to know so I don't feel like I'm being taken advantage of or other people are. I don't open loot boxes, so I guess I wouldn't be getting taken advantage of. But what else did I have here? More community engagement. We already kind of touched on that. I checked before we went live here. It looks like that position for senior community manager is still open. So looks like they're still searching. And I think Gauss had mentioned, and I know both of you guys, I think, have had videos kind of discussing this, but it goes into detail about, having knowledge about Star Trek or the willingness to put in the work to have it. So I'm hoping that they get somebody good, and I'm hoping that that there's some sort of a program there. And I don't mean for like content creators. That would be nice, but just for the community manager. I'm hoping that they'll do what the German community manager does and have a Discord server and have engagement and really kind of up the level of that with the community in general, the players. If they had stuff for content creators as well, that'd be great, but I'm not holding my breath for it. But I think those are probably some of the main things that I would like to see. I know that's not really kind of game related, like this ship or that ship. There's so many to pick from. I couldn't do that even if I wanted to, but from, an operational, I guess standpoint and a peace of mind standpoint, those are probably the things that I'd like to see the most.
Vince?
So following up on the lock boxes, was it earlier this year in 2023 they went through and changed the pricing on the R&D packs and the DOF packs?
Yeah, I think so.
I would like to see them give some attention to lock boxes again, not even necessarily for decreasing the price of keys. That would probably be a good thing on their part, but I think, and I've done videos going over this, but like the lock boxes are increasingly just painful to open. As someone that does like to open lock boxes, the experience of opening Infinity just keeps getting worse and worse, and you can see the impact it has on the market. You can see, because people can't sell the choice packs, that the ships keep going up and up price-wise, because there's just so many options in that pack, and there's only so many boxes that people are getting. Aside from that, more community engagement, like you said, would always be nice. And what I said before with like elite level content, like we have the random elite TFO system coming in. They're supposedly going to finally be putting in elites of many of the queues from the past couple of years. But I would like to see them go in and, add some more rewards to elite to really incentivize people to continue playing that. And the isomags and all that were good, but add in something that is only obtainable from participating in those elite queues, because what's happened with the advanced consoles is they also drop the materials from the R&D packs, and what that means is that over time those get heavily saturated on the market, and that incentive to play that elite content to grind those materials goes down. You can already see that for all but the isomag, those components are dirt cheap on the exchange. So yeah, continuing engagement, some needed quality of life fixes to lock boxes, and continued buffs for elite level content's the big thing I'm hoping to see.
Nice. Mr. Gauss?
Just to echo what's already been said, just some stability, just to know, like, whatever pattern we're going to settle in next year is probably going to be what we're going to have going forward, so I just like to get there and know, what the new pattern is going to be. Then if we get into like wish list territory, I've said before, I think a battle pass would be a good idea. I don't think they're going to do it. There's a lot of things you could wish for, but I think if they can get if they can retain some of the better talent that they have, if they can get some new people who are doing okay, if they can get us into a new pattern that feels good, if they can, any improvements to the monetization would be nice. Whether it's revealing the odds, which I think they're legally required to do, but they haven't because they are in California. Well, I don't know anymore, but they were located out of California. I think they were legally obligated to do it, and they never did. And so any improvements there would be nice. In terms of ships, I've seen a couple people say in the chat, like, what ships do you want to see? There's so many ships in the game already. I don't really have a wish list for ships that I would want to see, so I don't really know about that. But I'd like to see new patrols, new missions, that new content added. Hopefully they'll keep adding that stuff. So I guess mostly I'm hoping things don't get worse. I hope they get better, but I hope they at least stay the same.
And
Right. Not. Yeah. Go ahead, Spence.
just one other thing, like you both have said, the roadmap. I don't necessarily think the one they did on the 10 forward was exactly the best approach. I think what Stu was saying with the like an email going out, get some sort of blog out there, just giving us the rough outline, because they did that twice back in 2019.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't have to be super specific. Just let us know that
It was like a
there's
teaser
more.
picture with like a dates, and it was real basic, but
Yeah.
I was looking at that, and I was looking forward to whatever that picture meant, at that date.
With all of the uncertainty, I would really hope that shortly after the anniversary event, or before the event even ends, we already have a roadmap saying, that there's going to be a content drop in like April, May, like normal, and that the summer event is going to happen. They don't even have to do the entire year, just up through the summer event, and then do something again once the summer event happens. That'd be good.
Yeah. No, I like that roadmap. I mean, I had it as communication, but hey, the same thing, right? Letting us know what's coming. I think it would really, and using the same word you guys used, engage the community more, looking forward, having something to look forward to. But I want to see more historical battles recreated here. Coming off of Star Trek Picard 3, season 3, that the TNG feels are still real with me. And almost every time that I close the stream off on Twitch, I'm playing that scene of the Enterprise D leaving space dock, because it's great. I would love to see more historical battles, because they can obviously do it, and with the hype still there in Star Trek Picard 3, and possibly with Legacy coming, hopefully. I'd love to see more of that. I'd love to see more unique rewards. I touched on that earlier. A little Doom buggy that I'd love to, just kind of ride around somewhere. Boss zone, I don't care. That's just really fun to have. But not just like TNG, but like DS9, Voyager. Go ahead, revisit all that stuff. When it comes to recreation of battles, TNG has First Contact, Wolf 359. I'm missing one. 359, First Contact. Am I missing one? Felt like I'm missing one. But DS9 also had like Sacrifice of Angels, that whole fleet battle with the Jem'Had R and the Federation, right? And then actually, which included almost all the factions, the Romulans, the KDF, stuff like that. I really want to see with unique rewards. Spencer touched on it. I'm wondering what that could look like. Elite only rewards or drops. That'd be interesting. I'd love to see that. Again, give people incentive to try out elite content. But we've beat this down so many times. The elite content here is pretty easy. I mean, just the other night we played Port Fez, and we got the Teray one that's bugged with all the volume ship coming at you, and that was finished pretty much still easily, with little to no one dying, I think. So that would be.
Is it easy? I mean, if you look at like the tables and stuff, I mean, when you look at, how many players do under 50K, in an ISA? I think for the majority of players, it's pretty hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's easy for someone like Spencer, but
Yeah. Doubly
Um,
easy, yeah.
with the DPS stuff, I think the like average DPS is still closer to like 10 to 20.
That sounds
Really?
about right. I mean, looking at the questions, in some of the build channels, on our Discord, Spencer's, questions on videos and stuff. I mean, yeah, it elite is out of the majority of the players' reach because the game's so complicated, which is why I like it. Like that's not a knock on it, but to put together, we have done it so long, and we have a lot of resources available to us in terms
Good
of
point.
knowledge of how to build things. We can slap together a tier 5 and go do an elite, but the vast majority of the players in the game, there's nothing in the game that tells you how to build your ship, like what you should do, the very, very basics, matching energy types, turning up your weapons power, different things like that. So it's actually pretty hard for almost everybody.
yeah,
Good,
and
no,
the
good
examples you do get are usually bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, quite bad.
No, that's a
One
good
thing I
comment.
would add in from earlier, I didn't mention, it's not going to happen, but I'd like to see them add Vorta as a playable species for
Hmm.
Jem'Hadar. Just
Why not?
throwing that out there.
Oh, that brings me up to something I forgot to mention too. For something I would like to see, legendary ships, more legendary ships that are not Federation. Like we said before, Jem'Hadar. Give me a legendary Jem'Hadar battlecruiser. Give me a legendary Keldener galore. Like, give us. I know that Fed ships sell the best, but give us at least one other non-Fed ship in each bundle.
So you're saying you're fed up?
Yes. Terrible.
That's good.
That was good.
Very
That
good.
was good. That's pretty clip worthy right
Write
there.
that down.
That's a good one. I think Gauss also came up first with the engage one, so you're on your you're on your pun train there. But yeah, that for me that's kind of what I want to see. Just historical battles, unique rewards, more engagement. Obviously, roadmap. That's a great point you guys made. But that of course now takes us to the next question: what don't we want to see in 2024? Stud.
I wrote here, can it get worse? And I guess it can. Because it's at a state where it's very slow. It's not maintenance mode, but it's kind of close, right? And I want to make sure that we're, I'm being clear, and I think I probably speak for everybody here, but I know Spencer's been getting a lot of comments about, covering the stuff is basically being negative about the game and talking about this, but this stuff, it's the reality of what it is, right? It's not like just our opinion that, Cryptic got sold and there's problems, right? And people are getting laid off. That's the reality of what's happening. But I feel like that, other than some of the examples that Gauss had brought up earlier, because we kind of touched on that a little bit, how could things get worse? I really don't think it can without them completely destroying it, and I don't think that they're going to do that. I think my biggest concern is I just don't want to see development slow down even more than what it currently has. So, I mean, that's probably the main thing that I don't want to see happen going into 2024.
Makes sense.
Continued ignorance of issues with like the economy and some of the things that they've broken. Like it feels like even trying to report these things is just talking to a brick wall, and I want to see them recognize the issues that impact end gameplay. I don't want to see them continue to ignore them. That's the big thing for me.
Can I add one other thing? It just popped into my mind, and I don't know, maybe I shouldn't even mention it, but I guess something I wouldn't want to see and something that could be really bad is if they got rid of the DIL exchange. I think a lot of companies would view that as a negative thing in terms of monetization. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. It just seems like that would be pretty. It would go over extremely bad with the community. It would be a bad thing. But I don't know. Maybe I'm asking. I mean, is that something that you guys think that a company like Decker or some other outside company would look at and say, I don't know if that's a good idea for our monetization model?
I think it gets a lot of engagement, and I think so long as they actually were to continue to like some dill sinks here or there. Even the advanced console re-rolling that they did, that was a dill sync. So long as there's dill syncs out there, I think it's something that does benefit them monetarily, because
somebody has to buy the Zen in order to sell. So I guess that's kind of moot. So okay.
I think the drop rates on the Phoenix packs for the Epic ships are so terrible on purpose.
Horrible.
I don't think that's an accident.
Like a 0%.
0.11.
Yeah, 0%. Because someone earlier in the chat said they haven't seen one in 2 years, and I do feel like they've gotten worse. Because I've opened a couple of Epic ones in the past, but that was years ago, and it's not like I haven't been opening them for upgrades. So, I mean, it's anecdotal, but it does feel like it's gotten worse. And perception can be reality for people. So if it feels like it's impossible, but like you said, people have to get the Zen to put on the exchange to get the dilithium. So people complain about ISO mags. You have all the reroll options, right? But that's a dill sync. The low drop rate for the Epic Phoenix prize pack, that's a dill sync. So I do think there probably is some people who are buying Zen to dump into the dill X to get the dill to pay for all that crap. And sorry about the French there, but so I do think it probably still is a negative positive for revenue. I don't know, and also cutting it would be super unpopular, and I don't see them doing it. But I mean, I think it would be devastating if they did.
Yeah.
On the topic of those Epic Phoenix tokens, the drop rate for him sucks, 0.11%. But the real kick in the balls is the fact that if you do manage to get one, the ship you get from it is only for that character you use or that you get the ship on, which is just ridiculous to me, because with that drop rate, that's basically like 70 to 80 bucks per Epic token on PC. And if you're on console where the Deluxe is drastically different, you're talking about easily over $100 for a ship, an old event ship that only a single character is going to get. So one of the things I was
just going to ask, what did Nix spend? That was like last year. He put in a couple $100 into the exchange to get Dylan open. He opened what, 2,400 of them?
Yeah, something like that.
And he didn't get one.
2,400 and not even one Epic. Oh.
Yeah, and on that topic,
that's the kind of thing that would get a lot of people to quit.
Yeah. The fact is,
I've got two.
For a lot of us too, for veteran players like myself, RoboJerk in chat, like we have tons of these tokens, but we have no use for them. You can't sell them or trade them, and there's nothing really good in there for those of us that have all those ships. So that'd be a nice thing to see changed as well. But one of the things I don't want to see continue as we move into 2024 is how slow they are to move prior event items over to the Phoenix store or even the Mud store. It is ridiculous that some of these things, are taking 2 or 3 plus years to make it over there. I know one that people tend to want is the Section 31 rifle from an event a couple years back, and that still hasn't been added in. I think it really hurts new players coming into the game that maybe just missed an event and missed the buyout opportunity for it, to not have a chance to get that ship, which could be very impactful meta-wise, like with something like the Hesperian or the compiler, and have to wait until 2025 to be able to get these things. I don't want to see that continue. I think I covered the other things too. Just I don't want to see their communication to continue to be so bad. That's pretty much what I had to say.
Yeah, I think Gauss, were you done with yours, or?
I guess the other thing I would add is my biggest concern is that they're going to cut anything that isn't directly monetized. I think that's possible. I'm not saying it's likely, maybe not, but I think that would be not a worst case scenario, but it would be a plausible enough and terrible scenario that it's the thing I'm the most concerned would happen.
right? I mean, all I had for 2024 that I want to see is I don't want to see any of our existing devs now gone. Because again, just the like John again, I think Jonathan is just the bright spot that's a breath of fresh air there to the team, and him leaving when he filled in a void that was so needed. I feel, you know, and again because that does and will affect game development. I feel, but I don't want to see any of them gone. For the community manager thing, I know a lot of the reasons why. Oh, I said not. I know. I think some of the reasons why we're not seeing what in terms of engagement we're seeing is because Kale just has too much on his plate right now. I think he's the community manager for what 3 games now,
And-
Stowe, Champions, and Neverwinter.
And he's a writer for Champions as well.
So how are you going to get him to engage with the community when he's got 3 other jobs or however many more things he's got to look after? Like one of my complaints always it was either an Excel or an ambassador, and he's like, "What ship is that?" I'm like, "Oh my god, it was like a close-up shot." I'm like, "You can't see that." It would be nice, to have someone help him out or whatever, take over his responsibility, but that's like kind of communication degradation, like Spencer was saying. I don't want to see that. I want more engagement from them. So
Well, and it feels like too, a lot of it is just up to Kale to make up as he goes along, right? And that's what I was saying earlier. I hope that there's, if Deck is the one that's kind of handling that portion of it, that there's a process. Like whoever they hire, he doesn't make up like everything to the server, and I'll call it this, and I'll do X, Y, and Z. That there's actually, a plan that they implement.
was that just me? Did you guys hear Stud go
no.
robotic?
McStuds.
I was cutting.
Oh, okay.
I touched my mic and it made me.
You kick the kids off.
I'm not touching. Yeah, no. Everyone's gone. My foot's not touching my cables. It's Starlink. It'll switch the satellites. What I was saying is, I hope that they have for community engagement. Other companies, most others have it where there's a process. The community manager doesn't make it up as he goes along, and that's really what it kind of feels like that Cryptic's kind of always done. And I'm hoping that with some of the changes here on the back end and, Deca doing some of the hiring, that there's a process, there's a plan, there's a procedure, and it's just not something that's willy-nilly kind of made up.
Yeah, I mean, that Fleet Week, going back to that was a success, right? They came up with everything for it, and I think that was a huge success. So even something watered down version of that just would be great. You see him do the streams. Now it's been I guess one of the what I don't want to see continue is the continued every other week 10 forward. I wanted to kind of go back, but then him do something whenever he's on stream. If there's no new ship to show or new content to talk about or whatever, no devs to interview, while you're streaming, give stuff away.
Just do a little game, have a little contest. Yep.
Hide and seek something, and he doesn't stream long, an hour. That's fine. 1 hour a week. Have something planned that you're not when you don't have a new ship to show or new content to talk about. Caps, we're gonna play hide and seek, go find me here. You find me, you're gonna get a code for XYZ, whatever that is. And I think that'll go a long way. I think you'd see even his numbers in terms of viewership go up even more, because you'd have people even logging in, right, to kind of just engage with him, someone from the team there. So, but yeah, I really hope I don't see that trend to go like every second weekend. If they do fill that position, that goes back to the regular weekly 10 forward stream, right? Again, their streams don't have to be long. I think the max I've seen Kale stream is like an hour and a half, right? Him just answering questions and stuff like that. But
well, to be fair, him answering questions is just him saying no for 45 minutes.
Or we don't have the people to do that anymore.
Yeah,
that would require too much time. There was something else I wanted to add in here too. Is something I don't want to see in 24 is nerfs like what we saw with like the Maelstrom. I don't want to see like the plasma stuff on the Gorn Hunter get nerfed because they see a couple of us having success with it in Elite, I think
Me,
I think things need to be tested thoroughly, before they get to player hands. And I think I just don't want to see nerfs like Maelstrom again, because that irritated so many people. That was a bundle that people legitimately went out and spent $80 for, and the ships in it were fine. A lot of people did get it for the ships. That was good value for the ships compared to some of the other deals in the game. But there were also quite a few that Maelstrom did play a significant role in making that decision, and I just don't want to see things like that just make people mad when they do spend money on the game.
right? Predictions. I thought this was a pretty good one that you put up there, Spencer, and us to talk about. So, the anniversary bundle predictions / thoughts. Stud, go.
Oh, I mean, guessing what it is, I have no idea. My main thoughts is that I hope they continue the trend of making them individually purchasable. And maybe that's always been the way, unless they were legendary. But I feel like it was 2 years ago that they started doing that. Maybe I'm wrong, but I hope that
the 12 and 13,
the 10th and 11th anniversary bundles were the only ones that you couldn't buy individually.
you couldn't, and that's because they were like legendary bundles,
legendary,
right?
yeah.
Because the anniversary bundles are not always legendary.
Correct. And prior to the 10th, they didn't even have anniversary in them. It's like that big pilot ship bundle.
Oh yeah, because they used to do anniversary bundles. They just weren't called
they
like
didn't call it that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that was right before my time when those were coming out. I hope it's not more mirror stuff. I mean, I've been saying I'm over the mirror stuff for the past 2 years. Although I mean, some of those ships that we've gotten have been amazing, and I really like them. Quite a few of them have been really, really good. They look great and all of that. I'm just ready for something new. I don't know what it's going to be, but hopefully it's just something a little bit different. I really like what they did with this winter event ship. I mean, give us some throwbacks to, Voyager and, all the shows. Just pick one from each, something that we only saw on the screen for a couple seconds, but that's what I would want. Something obscure that isn't way out there and is not mirror universe.
Yes.
They already said it's going to be something related to 3 numbers. And with the recent Borg theme, that's Wolf 359 or the Battle of Sector 001, First Contact.
Or species, that was 3 numbers, wasn't it? Undine?
No, that's 8472.
Yeah, 8472.
So I think with the current Borg theme, it being something related to one of those fights is most likely. It could be specifically catered to one of them, or it could be a combo of both. We'll find out here in a couple weeks, but I hope that they're, going with that theme, especially given that they've dropped that hint. And I hope it's not, just another, like, somehow it's just like, here's the mirror ships from Wolf 359 or something. I hope it's just purely focused on those battles. And as for, like what ships specifically are going to be in it, I don't know all the ships that were in those fights. I just hope that if it's First Contact related in any way, we get a good Sovereign from it.
Gauss?
Well, I hate to spoil this, but I actually do know what's going to be in the bundle. I'm not going to say how I found out, but the 3 numbers is related to the fact that we're getting a science, engineering, and tactical variant of the Int J. Now,
you can just, you know what? You're going to be turned off right now. That's just. So Gauss had to go all of a sudden, as you can see there on the screen.
Okay, but for real though, I don't know what's going to be in the bundle. But recently, it's every year. It's a yearly thing. But they've been adding like an account unlock of a previously lockbox ship. So I think that's the thing I'm most curious is which one they're going to stick in this time. Because the new ships they add are probably going to be variations on existing ships. and they're probably going to be fine because they usually are. So I'm the most curious to see which premium ship they're going to throw in this time. But I honestly, I have no idea. I am worried it's more Terran stuff because, like Stu said, the Terran stuff has been old for a couple of years now. But
Well,
that's probably what it'll be.
Here's one for you. There were a bunch of Connies at Wolf 359. And it'd be a good tie-in between that and all the Mir stuff we just had. Mir warship.
The Mir warship. Well, you mean the Defiant? The other Defiant?
Yes.
I thought we had a Mir warship.
Yeah.
We do.
Well, as the account unlock premium ship in the bundle.
Gotcha. Okay.
That'd be actually pretty great. I mean,
you just have to hope that they've put some thought into it and recognized after last year that the ship
has
to
put
be
some
good.
thought into it.
I know that
was a good deal for that. I didn't buy it. I bought a couple of the ships individually because I already have the sticks on 2 characters. So this is kind of a bummer when they do that because I've been playing long enough to where I've already kind of gotten most of what I wanted, and I'm like, damn it, that cost me a lot more.
I already had the sticks, so I was like, oh, come on, give me something else.
Yep.
But that was a push to get that. Like, if it wasn't for the backlash, we wouldn't have gotten that in that bundle. I personally didn't get the bundle either. I mean, like the other ships that I had to kind of contend with, favorite ship of the year. I mean, the breakouts obviously was the Connie 3, but I included in like at least top 5 or 10 were the Hydra, Monitor, and Eagle. Right, like those ships, those 3 ships are awesome.
They were good.
They're really good and still good. Like that Eagle is just ridiculous. Torque platform. But for me, yeah, I know Spencer's already talked about it, but if it's a TNG theme, please, I welcome it. I mean, I think there's still a Springfield. There's another type ship we don't have because I know we have the New Orleans already in stow, right? There's a bunch of those other odd ships. Would I get them? Probably not. They don't look the best, and they're just like kit bash and everything from other pieces of ships. But I wouldn't mind that in terms of getting them in a TNG board 359 whatever 60001 bundle. I'm up for that. Terran, I'm kind of not too sick of it yet. I don't mind it because even if you do get the ships, like we did with the 13th, you can just slap in a regular skin on it, right? So I'm not necessarily, because Spencer said this earlier, we're in for the whole Terran Borg thing for another year. So I think there is going to be some sort of maybe tie into that. I don't know. As long as it's, TNG, like I said, keep the feels going. I love the Tamaran Cruiser is a great ship. Been having great fun in it. I didn't even have to upgrade it, and it's still performing pretty well. It looks like an X-wing from in flight mode, but it's great. There's other ships that can give us. I mean, another ship that comes up to mind, Raven, right? You know what I saw the other day? And this is not on the list, but just came up to mind. It's almost like a Lego builder type company that is putting out ships. I seen a picture of the Enterprise E, a bug ship, a Stargazer. Have you guys seen that? I thought that was pretty cool. I would love for them to have maybe some sort of crossover with that to stow and have like the flagships, the alliance ships, maybe even something like that. I don't know. Sorry, thought I'd throw that out there. But yeah, for me, anniversary bundle predictions. I would love that. So
Garth popped up in chat and said, "What about a Confederation bundle?" I'd be out there.
I mean,
a Confederation bundle,
like World Razor themed, but other ships. Like that'd be interesting.
I mean, it's not that far because we already have the World Razor. All they'd have to do is just put a slap a red deflector on the Nova and Steamrunner was the other 2 ships that we saw, right? And we can also, again, it would be reskinning everything, but then that'd give them a chance to sell the same ship again, for the 10th time again for us, right? I mean, I wouldn't mind that, I guess. Maybe somewhere down the line, if they do that, that'd be another alternate universe. But how closely would that be related to the Terrans, right? And some of the themes that they got going on there too is kind of I wouldn't like to sort of
I think
to push that. But
I think that type of bundle would be good as like one of the secondary C-store bundles throughout the year, but I don't know if that would have a ton of appeal as the big bundle of the year.
yeah, just like a one-off thing.
Yeah.
But I think maybe it wouldn't be bad to have a story or two with the Confederation. I don't think, because along with that, I know Gaming Federation wants the costumes from that. I mean, it's Space Barbie, right? True end game. So anything that they can bring in, and we saw it on screen, right? So that's something that they can always try to do. So
Just give us a playable Doomsday Machine.
whale probe. Like Mr. Elf wants a whale probe. So anything else I wanted to add there before we go into our last little bullet point here? Just throw it out there.
Nothing I can think of.
Stud?
No, and I guess I'm not against I'm against the Terran story stuff. The ships have been actually amazing. I'm just so sick of time travel, alternate universes. I mean, I feel like that's all we've gotten in, and not even just in game, but like across almost all the shows. You know, I'm fine when they dabble in it just a little bit. You know, the one with the crossover of Strange New Worlds and in the Lower Decks, but Discovery and all it's just too much. They're jumping the shark like crazy with it.
Mr. Gauss?
No, I'm ready to move on. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess, in terms of all the points that we had, we went through them all. So, and we've been looking at chat too. Then you guys have had some awesome input back there too as well and stuff. Definitely, we like seeing this stuff because this is an engagement that we would love to see not only between each other but also with the devs. And I hope that that kind of carries on. But lastly here, we just kind of want to go over the plans of what we as individual content creators have for 2024. So we'll kick it off with Stud.
Yeah, so short term, last weekend I dug the trench, laid all the conduits. I'm just waiting for the cable provider to bring it down the street another 100 feet or so, which should happen in the next couple weeks, and I'll have good internet. I'm on Starlink currently, and it's getting the job done. So I'm not going to complain, but it's not enough to be able to live stream or upload large videos and stuff. So currently my goal is to continue at the same pace, which is a minimum of video every 2 weeks or 2 a month. Once I have the internet upgraded, I'll probably go back to doing an every other Sunday live stream like I did in the past, more of kind of that news talking head show that's a little bit, it's not super long, but more informational Q&A kind of thing. And I'll also pick up the pace a little bit on the videos. I will be starting a build on a house here in hopefully the next 5 to 6 weeks. So I might make some content on that. Won't be STO related, but I might just do a little bit of that. Just kind of here's how it's going. But I'll probably keep the same kind of cadence with 2 videos a month until that's completed. I just don't know if I'll have more time. So that'll be the minimum of what I'm looking at doing. So that's the plan for probably the next 6 months until I'm all moved into to our new house.
Awesome. Benz?
More videos, of course. Keeping up with the weekly streams. I've got a couple videos that I've already had the PowerPoints done for a couple weeks, but I just, with real life stuff, just have not had the opportunity to go in and get them done at the level that I want them to get done. So getting caught up on that, and then just continuing with my plans to make some guides for like economy related things. I'm working on a couple more solo videos, but probably for queues that are a bit more popular than Gravity Kills. That one did not go very well view wise, but yeah, I want to get on a better schedule for some video releases, and I need to get caught up before I commit to any specific plans.
Mr. Goss?
I'm going to be doing a documentary for the whole year. Probably it's going to take a year to do. I have trips planned. I have interviews lined up. It's about the first ever Star Trek video game, and it's a pretty interesting story behind that. And so hopefully that's going to turn out well. Probably going to diversify my channel a little bit to be about other Star Trek games as well as Star Trek Online. Still going to cover Star Trek Online. And also I've been buying a lot of gear. So the plan is to do fewer videos, but they're going to be higher quality. So probably more like Stu said, every couple of weeks, maybe even once a month. But the plan is to do fewer videos, but better videos, higher production value videos, I should say. So that's the plan going forward. And if you haven't seen my Tiger Electronics video, watch that, because that I spent 2 days just editing that. So
Special effects were pretty cool.
yeah, I made custom special effects. I did those myself. So they're not all going to be like that, but the plan is to have more variety and higher production values.
Awesome. No, I mean, for us, kind of the more of the same. Real life has been kind of busy, more with just me getting into leagues and volleyball, but you caps already know that usually I'll stream every night, except for Fridays. I'm going to be off for the next 2 weeks here, so I'd like to get up on some videos that I've wanted to work on. So there's that. I know some of you have already mentioned on stream some stuff has happened here in the last week here for in real life, and just want to take this opportunity to say thank you to you guys for your messages. I do appreciate that. But yeah, 2024. In terms of diversifying, I mean, some of you know I also do Dragon Ball Z content or Dragon Ball content. Dragon Ball Sparking Zero is essentially going to be Budokai Tenkaichi 4. So I want to try to do a little bit more on that stuff. But I've also been playing Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, which I want to do a video on, kind of trying it out in 2023. And I just want to get up to level 120, the level cap, and then go over my experience, which has been positive. And for a game that I bought for $7, I really can't complain. I have been having a lot of fun. And no, Spencer, I'm not going to be playing that hacking game. I already know what you're thinking. Okay, sir.
I was thinking of the next theme stream idea where I give you a demo record file of an Enterprise J going
You can
through a
just take
TFO,
that and
and
delete it.
I
Okay?
tell you that you have to go in and get a couple pictures of it throughout the the course of the run.
Bruh, no, that's not gonna happen. But okay, yeah. So I know, videos wise, same thing with like kind of everyone else too, like new stuff. I love doing those, dropping the ACs here and there. It's, for me, it's an escape, right? It's just a time to be able to, even for a moment, just get out there, speak my mind, and do stuff more like this. These storecasts are fun to do, and it gives us a chance to just kind of spitball and kind of go over the state of Stowe, and want to do more of these, obviously. So that's my plan, but it's still going to be more Star Trek Online related. So, but with that said, we're going to end it here. So first and foremost, to all you caps out there, thank you for joining. But of course, to Stud, Spence, and Gauss, thank you for the whole year. Man, we've it's coming to an end. It's kind of crazy. This 2023, I'm not gonna lie, it's been kind of hard for me personally. The first year, the first half of it was pretty harsh. And then of course these last couple of weeks have been. But having said that, like a lot of us, when we have something that we all love and just come together and talk about it, play together, I'm just super thankful for you guys. Spence, Stud, Goss, for helping me out personally, especially you guys out there too. Thank you. I really do enjoy the time that we're on here, and that's why we do it every night. Even if it's just going over paperwork and stuff like that, that's what keeps me engaged in Stowe. So, with that said, we're gonna say goodnight to the Stud, the Spence, and Goss, and then we're gonna actually raid out on Twitch so that we can just pass on the love. So, guys, if there's anything else you wanted to add, please do so before we end the stream.
I had two questions from chat.
Oh, sure.
the first one's quick. Which event rewards that weren't a ship from 2023 do we think was the most impactful? For me, I think the free Maelstrom, probably. Like, it's a pretty good torpedo. It's not that far behind the original.
Mm. I mean, I like the Voth suit.
Well-
That's just like that.
I guess another way to ask this is, what was the most impactful non-ship event reward that you guys got this year?
Oh, impact. Mm.
Yeah, I would have to say the Voth suit as well.
Yeah.
And it's going to sound stupid, but with the party generator, it's pretty cool. And it makes me smile every time. You can make it dance. Yeah.
I know, it's pretty cool, actually. Gauss?
I did see one other question in the chat. It was actually for Spencer. Why are engineers the best class?
Ever.
Oh, look at his face. He's speechless. He can't even. He can't even.
Because they use beam overload the best. That's why.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, he's see, look at them. The steam. If there was effects that we can put on Ron,
That should be your April Fool's video. For April Fool's, you should just go all out and do an
Be careful
engineers
with
are
that.
the best video.
Just prove why engineers are the best. Do a
Yeah.
solo ISE and then just prove.
That's not really a challenge right now.
Jeez.
Did you see the turret run?
Oh yeah, that was, like I said, anything but. Was there a second question there, Spence? You said.
The other one was, how do we think Stow on console is impacting things? For me, I think it's probably an annoyance to Cryptic at this point. It's added time for the development of things. The releases to it seem to be quite sloppy. I mean, there have been ships that Cryptic have released to it this year, lockbox ships that were released before they were meant to be released. So I don't think Cryptic really cares that much about console right now, to be
Well, the
honest.
question is, how much money are they making on it?
Combined, I think PlayStation and Xbox have less players than PC right now. They're in a much worse state. They can't get TFOs to pop like we can. I think it was a huge
Yeah.
mistake for them to not make things cross-faction or cross-platform. I mean,
It's
know-
probably too many people for them to cut, but not enough for them to care.
yeah, I mean,
So,
if they had a
yeah.
way for people to transfer accounts from console to PC, I think you would see the console numbers take a hit.
Right. Sorry.
Also, when are we going
Spence.
to get a Switch version? You know?
Never,
A Switch version?
never.
Oh God, not a Switch version,
Oh.
please.
People said Beverly's Candle was the best event reward.
Well, clearly, but we didn't want to that would just be the only
40
answer. Like
seconds.
we had to pick something else.
Yeah. Like, that's everything.
No. Yeah, that's awesome. So guys will be. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say thanks for doing these.
No, that's a great suggestion on
Yeah.
your end. Was not sure how our time was all lining up because stuff in real life, but I'm glad we were able to do this before the end of the year. So Stud again, Spence, Goss, thank you.
Thank you.
For this. We're gonna rate out. I'm just gonna mute myself here and
One last thing I want to say is that I am going to be doing a New Year's Eve stream, and I have, I think, 3 or 4 T6 coupons that are going to be given away, or the giveaways will
Nice.
start during that stream and be up for like a day afterwards to make sure people have a chance to get them. So make sure to stop by this time tomorrow.
Awesome.
Yeah, actually we'll be on. I think we'll be on too, but we'll see. We'll see. Guys, thank you again. We're gonna say goodnight to everyone, but I'll catch up with you guys in Discord in a bit here.
Have a good night,
So,
everyone.
Say goodnight.
Good night.
Good night.
Has he muted yet? Remember, I'm still
Nope,
alive.
not yet. Nope, not yet. 1 sec.
Well,
No, not yet.
We got to be careful before we can talk about the old man. Terrible. Okay, let me wrap things up on my end and I'll be right back.
Sounds good.
Get my headphones too.
Apparently, they hold her.
Okay. Well, that is going to be it for this, if I can get to the right camera. Oh, because Discord was using the camera, I can't show it, so rip. But that's going to be it. The old man, no Triz. So I think I missed a couple things in chat. If there's any more questions you guys want to get in, feel free to drop them here and I'll answer them quick. I can't because the issue is, Nicholas, I guess I could start the camera up, can't I? Then you guys get to see the mess behind me. Yeah, there we go. Whatever. My room's a mess. I'm not too concerned about picking it up because I'm probably moving in the next couple of months. I am live. You're seeing me live right now, Nicholas. Glad I was able to watch the last 5 minutes. I mean, the VOD will be up right away. NeoJet, I did actually do a solo to Health Honor on stream earlier. Full screen? I can't do full screen, Nicholas. This is this close you're getting, okay? There you go, buddy. When will be the holiday stream? So it'll be starting tomorrow, 5 hours earlier from now. And like I said, the coupons are going to be up as a Discord giveaway for a day. So I'll probably have it set so you can enter until the end of January 1st at like 11:59 p.m. Central Time. So you'll have time if you're European or in whatever time zone to go in and enter the giveaway. Solo Days of Doom Elite. You just hate me, don't you? I want to know from the others what games they would want you to play so that you broaden your horizons. I mean, we all play like the same games. Playing an engineer on consoles, the next frontier. I did think about picking up a console at one point to try Stow on it, but I don't hate myself that much. Yeah, NeoJet, I saw. I was like, I was saying on the stream that I'm pretty sure someone has soloed this before, and I found your video. I do have some solo ideas, some solo content that I want to give a shot to, but I think I'll give some time before doing another upload for that. The Gravity Kills one, like even if I look at it now, what's that at? Like for a video on my channel that hasn't done very well for a publicly visible video. Combined, those two are at like what the solo ISE Turret Edition video is at. So the Grav Kills one didn't really perform very well. Sometimes it's just how it is. Okay. I'm going to end things here then. Again, thank you to everyone for stopping by, and thank you to Gauss, McStu, and Triz for hanging around to have a chat there. This will be up as a VOD like immediately afterwards if you're just catching the end, so you can go back through and watch it if you want. And I might go through, take a couple clips of it and just combine them for like a separate video. I'll go through and see what it's like and see if it's anything that would fit for a video. So thank you all for tuning in. I will see you guys around.